Right, I'm making this video in the hope that it will help somebody who's trying to replace a hard brake line. This is only on a Ford Fusion, but as you can see, it's this pipe here, the hard pipe, that has to be replaced. What I've done is I've used the vice grip and I've squeezed that pipe. So hopefully I'll be able to cut it with this, which is a metal cutter, and might just take a bit of messing around here. Now we're going to release this again. We're going to release our vice grip and we're going to clamp that top. But you can just see that little drip. Now just tighten the vice grip again and we'll give it another little clamp. There's a reason. Sorry, I'm straining there to clamp that. There's actually a reason behind doing this, and you're going to see what we're going to do is we're going to release the fitting that holds that brake, the hard brake line. As you can see now, I've put it's only wad in there. The reason I do this, I clamp there. Now, luckily enough, I'm only replacing a small bit of this pipe. As you can see, it's only on a Fiesta, and I'm only replacing about 14 inches as far as you can just see there, as far as that fitting. But the reason that I cut this pipe here off is if I could not connect there and I have to go up to my master cylinder, what I do is I would have, as you can see, hopefully you can see, we'll just imagine that this is the nut that goes to that front wheel. What I could do is I can take that and just disconnect it. Now, I would have to have a towel, obviously, and under to catch any drips. But what I would do, as soon as that's out the way, the part now that I cut off, which is blocked, I would stick that in here temporarily, just to save on the brake fluid, so you don't have fluid going left, right and centre. All it is just a handy little tip, and the rest is actually kind of straightforward. All that I'll be doing is this is the copper pipe we get. I'll only be making up about a 14-inch piece of brake line, the hard line, as we call it. So we just clamp that, make sure it's not dripping, because it still is. We just don't want a constant flow of fluid coming out. I hope that this might help someone, because I know that some people aren't actually sure on how to do these. Now, I'm going to try and add another section onto this video. What it actually is I'm just going to disconnect this, and I'm going to show you how to use the flare tool to flare this the copper pipe, which is this copper pipe, and how you attach the fittings. Okay, so hopefully I'll see you in a minute once I have this disconnected.
What do you want me to?
Now, I don't know if you can see this, but this is a regular pipe cutter, and literally all you do to cut your brake pipe is keep going around in circles, and this should hopefully just pop off there in a second. The reason I'm showing you on the bad one is because of I'm gonna have to go off camera for a second to do the good one, because I don't want this to make mistakes. I can't afford to make mistakes. But as you can see, it's just there you go. That is literally how you cut your hard brake line. So I'm gonna have to go off here for 1 minute and make up my new section of brake pipe. Okay, talk to you again in a minute. This here now, it's called a flaring tool, and what it does is, as you can see by this, it inserts pressure onto this pipe and it makes the shape. It flares it actually, so it just sits into the receiver on the brakes. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you what you do with this. Is this nut here, you thread through this side. Again, I'm trying to do this on my own, so we'll do it let's way. Okay. Now, this is our copper pipe, which now we have to put into here. Sorry. We have to push this down now until it reaches. This nut. We have to make sure that this is all the way in. Okay. Now we can tighten these with that. Now we're going to have to remove this nut. What happens is when I insert this copper pipe, it reaches the nut, which should be down around here. So then what we do is, once this is out, we replace that nut with this. This is the tool that does the flaring. So I'm going to just put the phone down again for a second while I remove this. It's impossible trying to do it with one hand. Now, as you can see, we've removed this nut, and now we're going to put the flaring remove that bolt. Now we're putting in the bolt here that does the flaring. So literally that's as tight as I can get by hand. What I'm going to have to do, I think it's a size 17.
Here you go.
Which should, good girl, which should flare this. I'm just, once again, I'm so sorry trying to do this on my own. I'm going to have to just put the camera down again, and I'm going to tighten this all the way in. You're doing a great job. Now, that is what it's like with the nut. All I've done is just fed that nut along there. You're good, girl. Now, so now what we're going to do is we're going to try and shape that copper to the same as this, and it's not actually that hard. What I use is a big socket, and you'll even see like this stuff here is so easy to bend, like you can bend it no sweat. So what I'm going to have to do is, and I think I'm going to have to bend just this small bit first off camera, and then I'll show you how easy it is. That's my first bend there. So what we're going to do is we're going to attach the two of these together. This as you can see, is a big enough socket, so we're going to just put it down there. And I know that my bend should start from here, so we'll just put that around the big socket and gently do that, so we know that that's okay. Need another slight bend on that, so that's just that's where our bend is. And our next bend now we want here to follow this line, so we will do this and this again, and hopefully we should be starting to follow the line. And now our next bend is here, and we're going to be bending this way. So let's have a look. Sorry now, but this is a bit finicky. It's just a slight bit finicky. As you can see now, that is the rough shape. The shape is never going to be 100% perfect, but there is receivers inside the where these are about to be connected, and once I connect them up, you'll see exactly what I mean. As you can see now, that is the new copper pipe that has been fitted. We've just I think we've just to clip it back in there. But that is basically how you fit hard pipe. Next thing to do now is just to bleed the front brakes. What we'll do is just take off this. Is only a dust cap. Now, by right, you should be bleeding the furthest wheel away from the brake fluid reservoir. The reason that I'm going to bleed this one first is because it's the closest and it's the one I've repaired, so there's bound to be a load of air come out. I'm going to bleed this one. When I get the air out, I'm going to start at the furthest back wheel from the reservoir, which is on the passenger side rear of this car. Then I'm going to do the rear wheel on the driver's side. Then I'm going to go over to the front wheel on the passenger side, and finally I'm going to bleed this wheel again. So I hope that this has given you an idea of how to make up the hard copper fittings. So what we're going to do, if this doesn't shut off, I'll show you how to bleed them. So we'll keep going anyway. Now I'm just going to show you, I'm only trying this out now for the first time. It's a vacuum pump. So what you want to do anyway is make sure that you've topped up your brake reservoir. This gets, if you can see, let's get round the back. This gets connected to the nipple on the brake caliper, and I've already loosened this because it's a size 9. I have special spanners there for these, but none of them are a size 9. So we'll loosen this off a small bit. Give it another little tweak. Now, let's see, will the vacuum pull it through? Now you can see all the air. That's what we want. We want to get all that air out. The reason we're getting so much air is where we've replaced, it's a handy little pump, where we've replaced that little length of pipe there. That's all the air coming through. And what we want to do is you want to keep an eye on this bottle. So you can see there's plenty of air coming through. The idea of this now is that we just keep letting that flow until we have a constant flow of brake fluid. And as I said, what we're going to do then is we're going to go and we're going to bleed from the furthest wheel from the brake reservoir. But for each time we go and bleed a wheel, always check and make sure that your brake reservoir is topped up with brake fluid and the correct brake fluid. As you can see, there's a fair amount of air coming out there. And I'm lucky enough that this the brake fluid looks absolutely terrible. I might bleed the whole system on this. I'm lucky that there's a council recycling plant not too far from where I live, and they have a special container where I can put oil and brake fluid, so I'm kind of lucky like that. So we should have a release button here just at the bottom of this. That's a little button there, so we can release the pressure, and that will send, it'll stop pulling the fluid through. As you can see now, our pressure gauge has gone all the way down. So I'm just going to run in and get a container so I can put this old brake fluid into. And as you can see, I'm going to be doing this. It's basically the same procedure on the 4 wheels. It's just starting to rain. I can just feel the drops of rain coming. And believe me, in Ireland, when you feel a few drops, it usually means there's a lot to come. So I'm going to run in and I'm going to hope that this helps somebody. As I said, my main thing was just to show them how to fit the hard line. Anyway, I hope this helps somebody, and it doesn't matter what car, van or anything you have. It's basically the same on each of them. The only thing that could be different is I was lucky enough that I could join just behind the guard here. On other vehicles I might have had to have ran that straight up into the master cylinder. That's why I explained to you why when I do these, I don't need to do them because I have plenty of these. But this is why I'm advising, if anybody is doing this kind of a job, is to clamp it with vice grip. Give it a little bit of a cut and just wiggle it until it breaks. Remember, this is no good. So long as you don't damage the thread on there, you are perfectly fine. And once you haven't loosened that, you're not damaging the thread. And I think there's no more I can add to this video. But anyway, I'm going to put it up, and if it helps somebody, I'll be happy. Okay, bye.